Welcome to another episode of How We Roll, where we feature great game designers running the role-playing games they designed. In tonight's episode, we feature the game Dungeon by David McGarry. Now, I said role-playing games. You might say, was Dungeon really a role-playing game? Well, some might call it a board game, but it was essentially Dungeons and Dragons as a board game. So we felt it qualified. And besides, David McGarry designed this game back in the 1970s, and we were privileged enough to run into him at Gen Con, had the opportunity to film it, so we did, and here we are. Dungeon is, you lay out essentially this big dungeon map, and the players are the dwarves, elves, fighters, mages, rogues, the same types of character classes that you would find in Dungeons and Dragons. And they move through the dungeon, they collect treasure, they cast spells, they fight monsters, they level up. All the things that you would expect in a dungeon and Dungeons and Dragons sort of game. This was an attempt by David McGarry to create a board game equivalent. He called it the idea of being able to play D&D without a dungeon master. And this game was very successful in its time and has stood up well, and there are fans of it still. And I know you will be one too after watching.
My name is David McGarry, and I'm going to talk about the origins of Dungeon Fantasy board game and explain how I came about designing the game. Back in the 1960s and 70s, I was part of the Arneson gaming community in St. Paul, Minnesota. He ran a Napoleonic miniatures campaign down in the basement of his parents. Well, one Saturday morning we went down, and instead of the French countryside that we were expecting, we found a medieval castle sitting in the middle of the table. And Arneson had come up with a set of rules that he wanted us to try out. Well, needless to say, the next few weeks were playing this new game, this Dungeons and Dragons role-playing system that he had come up with. And we got so enthusiastic about how this playing was going that we sort of overwhelmed David. We figured out that we could call him on the phone during the week, and so instead of the Saturday experiences, he also was able to have one on Monday and Tuesday and all the way through the week. This overwhelmed David in a way that he finally had to cut us off. But we were really enamored with this new way of interacting with each other and being able to fantasize about a fantasy world that he had introduced us to. But I was struck by the fact that he could not play his own game. He was the only referee that existed at the time, and we had to always keep after him to want to play it. And I said, well, is there a way that I could come up with a game system that would allow him to play as just a player? We still capture the fun and excitement that the role-playing gaming system brought to us. So I examined all the different rules that he presented to us and then figured out the different design problems that how do you get the referee out. And in a 72-hour period in October of 1972, I just made the prototype. And the following Saturday, I presented the game to the Arneson ping pong table. No, that's not right. It doesn't matter. We played the game, and Arneson did not have to referee. In December of 1972, Arneson and I went down to Lake Geneva to show Gygax this game and also the Dungeons and Dragons Blackmore system that David had come up with. And then Gary had developed a Greyhawk system, and we played a session of each game. And Gygax really loved this game, and he said he wanted to be my agent to see if we could make it go. And he worked hard on trying to find a publisher for it, but was never able to make a deal. So he eventually said, well, I'm starting the Dungeons and Dragons TSR, and I think we can publish it. And so that's exactly what we did. And that is the version we're going to play this evening. Now, there's one thing about the game. I was living in Boston at the time, and I got these 6 games in the mail with a letter saying, I hope you like it, from Gary. And I look at the spelling on the game, and they have spelled my name wrong.
Welcome to the world of
Well,
publishing.
yeah. My name has 2 R's in it, and they only put 1 R. We think it's because Gary's name was Gary, and they only had 1 R. When you say my Gary, I think that's what was happening. So, the second printing, I happened to be working at TSR when the first printing ran out, and the second printing they came. Mike was working at the time, and Tim Cass came in with the second printing. They had fixed the name, but and they added another letter, but it was not the right letter. It was another G. So now we have the second printing of the first edition is Meggary, and it wasn't until we got to one of the big box versions that they finally got my name right. So that was, but that's sort of the story in and of itself. So this is the game, and basically is in terms of how do you get rid of the referee? And the first big piece was that I had to share my dungeon. The way Dungeons and Dragons sort of works is that the referee reveals the dungeon as you march through it, 10 feet, 20 feet, 30 feet. You're writing on your maps, and you're figuring out what the story is being told. I had to expose my dungeon in order to, because I couldn't be there. The next thing you have to have is how do you get the game mechanics to for the combat and picking up the prizes. Again, the referee I can't have a referee. So the way I solved that was to have prize cards that were color-coded for the different levels that we have, and then you have a monster card that goes on top. And you go fight the monster, and you are a character, which we will go through, but you basically look at the character that you are, and you roll 2 6-sided dice, and then if you match that number or greater, you beat the monster. And you put the monster aside, and you go into the room and get your prize. And that's basically the mechanics of how you play. Now, we will set up the game. This is sort of the social aspect of the game. There's lots of cards. And so we will divide up these cards and then
And we'll cooperatively
cooperatively place them, yes, without looking at what they are. This group should be over here,
Okay.
and the fourth level is here.
Do you need these like shuffled or anything like that, or?
Well, they've been shuffled enough. I mean, just coming
Okay.
out of the box. I mean,
I wasn't sure.
the way the game's played. But that's another randomness that happens with that each game, even though the board is the same, the monsters will be slightly different because they're randomly put out, and the treasures will be the same way. So let us continue on. These both go on those sides, and this goes here, and this is the sixth. Okay, so let's put a.
So these are the same
The-
lowest level?
Yeah. It goes first level, second level, third level, fourth level, fifth level, and sixth level.
That's the depth.
That's the depth.
Okay.
down here. So if you can visualize it, it goes like this.
Okay.
I guess the key is don't sneeze.
Yes. I wanted to explain to you about the characters that we can play. The white is wizard, the red is superhero, the blue is hero, and the green is elf. And now each character has certain abilities and a certain objective in the game in order to win. The wizards need 30,000 gold pieces to win. The superheroes need 20,000 gold pieces to win. The hero and the elf need 10,000. Now, the way the dungeon is sort of set up is that the monsters on the upper levels are easier to fight, but the prizes are not as good. The wizard has 3 spells. There's the fireball. There is the lightning bolt. These are the 2 offensive weapons that you have. And then the third one is a transference spell. And we'll start with the transference. This is a movement spell. You can go from one room, a large room, to another on the same level or up or down one level.
So from large room to large room?
Large room. This
Okay.
is, and what happens is that you step into the large room, you say, I'm transferring, and you use up the spell, and then you go to the room that is up or down or whatever one. If there happens to be a monster there, you're going to have to fight
When
the
you
monster
arrive.
when you arrive.
Okay.
And the theory is that you step into this one, it can't, it's watching you disappear, it couldn't attack you, but the monster in the room that is there has been watching you start to materialize.
Okay.
And so you're not going to be able to you're going to have to do a hand-to-hand combat when you arrive. You can't use another spell.
Now,
so.
would you use a transference if you come up against something that I don't really want to fight this, and so I'm going to get out of here?
No, if you engage the monster, you have to
Okay.
fight it. But once you know what the monster is and you say, I don't want to deal with this, you could then, on
Okay.
your next turn, step into the room and go somewhere else.
Use it as a void.
But you're going somewhere you don't know what the
Sure.
monster's going to be. So it's, but it's up to you.
And at
as
some
the
point, the
designer.
large rooms will be emptied?
Well,
over time?
yes.
Okay.
We only fight, on a large room, we only fight the top monster.
Okay.
And then once you defeat the top monster, then you can be in the room for a turn. Then you have to leave. Or if you stay, you have to fight the next
next one.
monster.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, so that's the 3 spells. You get 5 spells to start the game. Once you use them up, you can go back to the start and replenish. They can be in any order. If you sort of discover that you need more fireballs than the first time you went down there, you can come back and say, I want more fireballs, and you just,
So you can pick, like, if you want all fireballs, you can
Yes.
pick all fireballs.
all fireballs,
So okay, so it's a little bit of
or
strategy.
or whatever mix you want. It depends
Whatever your
on-
favorite form of magic is.
Magic is, that's right.
is-
Okay.
So now, so that's basically how the wizards work, and you need to get 30,000 gold pieces. We will keep repeating this because that's an important aspect of the game. That's how you win. You go around and
So I assume, do the prize cards, are they just
Well, we'll use, as Mike
Yeah.
suggested, that we should probably go through what a combat is.
Yeah.
Okay? Well, let's say our pawn, and we'll use the superhero so we don't have to make it easier. Pawn moves, you move 5 spaces. Large rooms count as 1 space. You don't have to roll dice for
Okay, movement.
movement. You can move up to 5, or you don't have to move, but 5 is the limit. If you land on a space that has a doorway,
Mhm.
then you can open it.
Automatically?
Yes.
Okay.
Or you can decide not to open it. I mean, that sort of
Sure.
depends on the circumstance. When we open this one, we find that there's a witch. And the superhero needs a 9 or better on a two-sided,
Two dice.
2d6s.
Mhm.
So we would roll, and I got a 12.
It's going to win every time.
It was not a yes.
Boxcars.
Yeah, right.
You're using up all my good,
Yeah, I
good,
understand.
good rolls there,
Yes,
right?
yes. I planned it that way. Now, the monster, of course, like I said, we put it off to the side.
Yep.
It's eliminated, right?
It's eliminated,
Okay.
yes, right. And then we step into the room. That's very important because to get your prize.
Here comes the good part.
Here comes the good part. It has a certain amount of value,
Okay.
right? 4,000.
And what is this one? Silver?
This one's
Silver.
a silver coffer,
Okay. And this
Right.
the value is of this?
4,000
All right.
pieces, right? So the 20,000 would be now down to 16,000. you have to
But do you have to get that back to the?
You have to get back to start once you.
So you're carrying your prizes with
You're
you?
carrying your prizes with you.
And do you occasionally drop them or lose
Well,
them
yes.
somehow? Okay.
Now let's go
Okay.
back to a different scenario here, right? You know, there I am bouncing on the door again, and I open it up. Oh, it's a witch. I'm going to roll some dice. I need a 9, but I rolled a 7. Yes, right, yeah. And so now we go to the combat losing table. This is where
Can't be a
no.
good thing.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
The
no.
combat losing table is the monster's attack on you.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so we'll roll and see what kind of outcome I got. I rolled a 4. We go to the 4, and it says, retreat 2 spaces, drop 1 prize. That answers your
You
question.
drop it in that room?
You drop it on that monster. If it's a large room, then you drop it underneath the
Okay.
the top monster.
Okay.
And lose 1 turn.
Ah, okay.
Okay. Now there's other rolls which are not so good, like a 3 and a 12. You're seriously wounded. You drop all your prizes and you go back to start, and then you have to start over. Or a 2, you are killed.
Oh.
Yes.
Roll new character.
Yes, and you can do a re-entry.
As a, okay.
As
starting over.
So basically, you really are starting over.
Yeah.
And so, hopefully this will not happen. But, you know, the roll of the dice
Dice are
are,
what the dice are. Okay.
Depends how Lady Luck is.
Yes,
exactly
Smiling or
right.
frowning
So
on
We've
you.
all been there.
So
Yeah.
what happens then is that the treasures, if you're unlucky, the treasures start getting shifted around. You know, it's the wealth shifting.
And I assume that if another player drops treasure, we can go
Yes, you can go and
opportunistically pick it up
Yes, you can.
for
But-
free, or well,
Well,
defeat the monster
you
that
have
has
to
it.
defeat
Yeah,
the
yeah.
monster, then you have it. So that's the negative side of combat.
Mhm.
Now, in the mid game, I mean, could you accumulate and carry everything at once? Finally, when you reach your 60,000 or whatever, and bring it back at once, or can you previously bring portions of it back and safeguard it?
No, we don't allow safekeeping.
Okay, all right.
You are,
Okay.
you are
So much for that strategy.
We're going to bury it in the hole right by the
you are
dungeon.
open the whole game. so
Okay,
that-
all right.
it's okay.
Okay.
Now, with wizards, you can do action at a distance with the 2 weapons.
Okay.
The
Projection
two
weapons?
Weapons, and so you would, if your spell, each monster card has an effect of what the lightning bolt and the fireball will do
Okay.
on each
Again,
monster.
it's a dice roll number.
It's a dice roll number.
Okay.
You match it or is greater than.
Okay. And
However, if you get less than, you do not roll on the
well, because you're at a
because
distance.
you're at a distance.
Okay.
The monster can't touch you because
Now,
you're-
can we assume that these are more powerful than, I mean, they're slightly more powerful?
Depends.
it depends on the
It really
monster.
does, okay,
Yes,
all right,
right.
good, okay.
Each monster has a certain affinity
Vulnerability.
to the type of spells.
Okay.
This one is particularly interesting because the witch, of course, being a magical
Uh-huh.
creature, the fireball and the lightning bolt are 10. But if the wizard took her on hand to hand,
Okay.
it's only a 5.
Wow, okay.
So you don't necessarily really want to use your spells, maybe. You know,
Because you're expending them.
you're expending
also.
them
Okay.
at the same time. So
Okay.
that's and different monsters are completely unaffected. A fireball to a red dragon whose weapon is fire will think it's a lunch.
They'll laugh it off.
A little appetizer before.
And you get to
Kinda
see
make
the
them
monster and the effectiveness before you decide?
No.
Okay.
Unless you have some of the prizes, and I'll explain the special
Okay.
prizes. There's secret, and we'll just start with the secret entrances. They are
The gray bars.
They're little gray bars. You can get through a secret entrance by rolling a 1 or a 2 on a single die, or unless you're an elf, in which case it's a 1, 2, 3, or 4. That's
Okay.
one of the advantages.
Okay.
Once you've been through a secret entrance, you don't have to
You
keep
go-
rolling
always,
on.
okay.
You always
But
know
the
where
other
it is.
players,
The other players,
After.
they have to go through the
Okay.
effort, right?
okay.
Some of the prizes are a secret entrance card, where it
Ah.
tells you all the, when you get to a secret entrance, if you have the card, you don't have to roll. You just
Allows you passage.
Allows you passage. And, but it is also a prize that could be lost.
Okay.
So, when it says lose a prize on the table,
Mhm.
then and that's the only prize you got, then that goes underneath the monster.
Now, when it says lose a prize, is that the prize of your choosing?
Your choice.
Okay. all
Yes,
right,
is your
okay.
choice. Now, we also have magic swords, which allow you to add 1 to your combat roll.
Cool, okay, good.
Another prize is the ESP medallion, which allows you to look at the monster before you open the door. Now, for wizards, that's a real advantage, because now you get to decide, oh, this is a witch. I'm now going to go and just beat heads. I don't have to waste a spell. Or it's a blue dragon. I need to use the fireball, not the lightning bolt. Right? 'Cause for blue dragons, lightning is that's their weapon.
And
That-
are the treasures,
They're sprinkled out.
okay,
There's
and the more powerful
their
treasures like
treasures
ESP
are
medallion
in
are
the
lower,
are in the
deeper?
lower.
Okay.
The last treasure is the crystal ball. Now, this allows you to look at any monster and prize anywhere on the board, but you have to not move.
Okay,
Okay.
so
That will
in
be
place
your
of your
choice.
move,
In
okay.
place of your move,
Mhm.
you do the crystal ball, and you get to look at the monster and the treasure
Of your choice.
of your choice. So those are the prizes. Now, we have some the typical creature monsters, but we also have some traps.
Uh-huh. Oh.
Traps, right?
Okay.
And there's 2 types of traps. One is a delay trap. So you turn it over and it says trap, and you have to roll a 1 to 6 die, and the number that shows up there's the number of turns that you have to wait. Now,
okay.
the only nice thing about the trap is that you get the prize. And sort of the story is that the prize was booby-trapped.
Okay.
When you picked up the prize,
Took a while.
the trap was sprung. The other trap is a little more nasty. It sends you down to a big room 1 level lower than where you're at. Yes, you get to take the prize with you.
Good luck when you
Yeah,
get
good
there.
luck once you get there.
Worth
Right.
it.
You will have to fight the monster that is there.
Yeah.
That's the only little room to big room movement that is
And if there's
allowed.
more than one large room, is it just randomly determined?
No, you get to choose.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna go to this one on this lower level instead of
right.
that one.
So
Okay, all right,
we give
okay.
you a little bit of
Sure.
reprieve
All right,
on
good.
the
Were there any traps like that on the 6th level?
No. That's right.
It's as low as you can go.
Go. right.
Okay.
So,
Right.
so those are the sort of the surprises that the monsters can give to you.
Good.
Now, we're going to have to pick our characters. Sort of realize that even though that they have different abilities, and that some are stronger. The game is balanced. You can win equally as an elf as a wizard because of the way that the monsters are in the fighting distributed and the way the prizes are. So you can choose anyone and have an equal chance of winning. Okay? So,
Sorry, I was just the differentiation between the different characters. Like you say, the wizard has these spell cards. Do the other ones have different abilities, or?
well, the superhero is just a fighter.
Okay.
Stronger
A
version.
stronger version of the hero.
Okay.
And so they can go around and just beat heads in, and they're.
But they need more treasure to
But
win.
they need more treasure to win.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
the monsters are a little bit easier
To
if you
defeat.
want to put it defeat, but it takes you more treasure to get. The hero has certain advantages in terms of the monster types that have a physicality and no magic.
Yeah.
And especially on the upper levels, we have them being able to do a better job. The elf has trouble with real monsters like giant lizards, anything that has a physicalness about it, but does really well against magical creatures like the undeads, ghouls,
Okay.
and things like that, because they're not really affected by that type of magic.
Okay.
Okay, and they have that secret door ability also.
And they also have the secret door ability. So
Okay.
they need 10,000, the hero, so that's another advantage of the
Lower
they don't-
threshold.
Lower threshold
To
You
win.
just can stay up in the upper levels and survive.
Mhm.
But if you're gutsy, you can actually run down there into the
Become
lower
a-
regions. Yes, you could actually win on one fight,
Oh,
right?
If everything
everything
happens right.
happened the right way.
Yeah.
But more than likely you will die.
Aw.
Ye of little faith.
Yes,
Okay.
right.
All right.
So I
Should we roll for choice or
no, you
pick them
can
out of a hat? Or?
basically, well, we're sort of limited by
Sure,
by
two
the
of each,
pawn,
yeah.
so there's 2 of each. So
Mhm.
one of us has to be paired,
Okay.
right? So do you have any?
Let's let them pick
Okay.
first.
So Jim,
I'm actually leaning towards an elf.
you want to?
all right.
I dub mine Green Sleevius.
Okay.
We have put ours and we'll start. You
I'll go with a hero.
hero. Okay.
And-
You're blue.
I'll go with the wizard.
Wizard. Okay. You're going to have the added activity of
Mhm.
picking out the spells.
All right.
You get up to 5. They can be in any mix
Okay.
that you want.
You'll have
Pick
one
them up
more.
now, or
Yeah, yes, we might as well do
okay.
Okay.
that. Mike?
I'll take. Oh, since no one's taking a superhero, I'll take a superhero.
Okay. And I like to play elves,
All right.
so I'll be the second elf.
Elf powers.
So Mike and I will start. And who was the hero?
I was a hero.
Okay.
And I'm the
Yeah, Mike's a
I'm
superhero.
a superhero. Yeah.
Oh, you
So-
are?
So we're going first
Yeah.
because we're the elves.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah,
you and I are
yeah,
elves.
yeah.
I
Yes,
see.
we're
Okay,
elves.
fine,
Go
okay,
for it.
fine, right.
All right.
Okay.
Do not doubt Green Sleevius.